Here's Redheaded Peckerwood by Patterson, a book that made it on to a lot of best-of lists this year, including mine. It's fairly recent. You can see on the cover, you can sort of see there's two people. It's a couple of young kids, basically. They were little more than kids that ran away and killed a bunch of people in the 1950s. So this book comes with the essay is the separate little booklet here, which is rather charming, and it contains a wonderful, wonderful essay by Luc Sand and another essay by, I want to say, Karen Irvine. Luc Sand calls this book, in his essay, he says it's a kind of subjective documentary photography of the historical past, and that's a very, very apt term for this book. So this book is basically about these two runaways that went onto a killing spree, and then they got caught, and the guy got executed, and the girl, I think she was 15 when she was convicted of the various charges against her. She spent I don't know, like 20 or 30 years in prison. So I'm just going to show you the book. So this is well, you'll see. I don't want to gab too much about it, because I don't want to ruin the fun for you. I mean, you have to buy the book and really spend some time with it to understand what this really is, but this obviously is a reproduction of an actual letter. And then this is a map, and if you're good in geography, you know what state that is. If you're not, then you have to buy the book and find out. Okay, so it's a MacBook. So here goes. So this book is it's very, very smartly done, and it combines a lot of very, very different imagery, different styles, to retell the story of these two kids and their spree, their killing spree, and their end, their capture and their end. The photographer went to the various areas where everything happened, of course, many years later. Took photographs, collected documents. A lot of these documents are from archives. And I try to retrace the steps and flesh out the story. The story is kind of like a Bonnie and Clyde story, if you will, even though, of course, Bonnie and Clyde have become a bit of a myth. Let's see, this is actually inlaid here. It's like a handwritten note, something about the Eisenhower election. And you see the layout and the kind of imagery, mixing black and white and color, using different kinds of layouts and types of photography. The question I often get asked is, can you do this? And my answer is always yes, you can do this if you do this well. It's very hard to do it well. It's very easy to do it really badly, and this is one of those cases where it's done extremely well. You see the different sizes, the placements of the images, the types of images. All these elements go into making a book. Even just whether you place an image on the left or the right hand side. I could fill many hours talking about this, how this works and functions, and why you want to do certain things and how some things might work. Here's another reproduction of some old slip here. I skipped a page here. If I remember this correctly, I might be mistaken. I think this is this plush animal is actually an animal that was involved in one of the murders. I don't remember all the details, but in the Luc Sand essay, the author writes that the photographer found this plush toy. The police hadn't even found it. I don't know where he found it. Given that this is sort of, as Sand writes, a subjective documentary essay, this might just be a tall tale or not. I don't think it actually is very relevant whether it's a tall tale or not. That's another one of those things we could spend a lot of time talking about, the idea of documentary and what documentary means and can mean and how it can be used in certain ways. That's also for another day. It's not for a photobook presentation. As always, I'm making these photobook presentations so that you might get an idea of what the book looks like, but looking at this video somewhere on your computer is not going to replace the experience of having the actual book. It's kind of an obvious statement, of course, but I want to stress that that's the main reason why I'm making these presentations, is to entice you to buy not all, but at least some of these books, because you like what you see. I'm not getting paid to do that, but I'm very passionate about the medium, and I think there's a lot of talk about books and the internet and all that kind of jazz, but I think that the internet can play a role in the world of photo books, not replacing photo books, but helping photo books to get seen and disseminated. Alright, so here's another artifact here, this typed up list of sexual innuendos and other kind of crude things. It's a wonderful photograph. So I'm going to go through the whole book, so you will order it once you're done with this video. You see, you're getting towards the end. Here's somebody in handcuffs. Oops. It's a very well made book. The only problem with this book is that it's not so easy for these kinds of presentations, but that's okay. I don't really mind that at all. You can't run away from anything. Apparently you cannot. So these are it's another historical document. This is Carol Ann Fugatti, 15 years old after she got sentenced. She was the girl, and I forgot what the guy was called. I could have looked this up. Starkweather, it's his last name. So this is a photograph, the back of the photograph. The night of the guy's execution. Starkweather, I forgot the first name. So this is the list of the images actually, without page numbers. Thank you, and that's it. Let's go out and get a steak, or a vegan patty, whatever you like. Anyway, this is one of the best books to come out this year. I mean, in any year, I think this would have been one of the best books. Christian Patterson, Redheaded, Peckerwood.